The other very distinguished person I'd like to introduce is Shri Dattatreya Hosabole ji, who is the Joint General Secretary of Rashtriya Swayam Sevak Sangh. He hails from Shimoga, Karnataka. He completed his MA in English literature before setting out as a pracharak. He has traveled widely abroad and is fluent in both English and Hindi. An effective orator, he is well-read and has special interest in foreign affairs. He was entrusted with Akhil Bharatiya Vidyarthi Parishad, college and university students' activity, where he held various responsibilities, including his Akhil Bharatiya organizing secretary position for over a decade. He is the founder, Secretary General of the World Organization of Students and Youth. He is seen as a team builder and commands a strong following in the community, in the student community especially. He was Saha Baudhik Pramukh before taking the new responsibility. Please welcome Dattatreya ji. So before we start this session, I would like Bhaiya ji to say a few words of introduction, introductory remarks for what this session is about, and then we'll go into the session. Thank you.
I will come there. बंधुओं तथा बहनों, अभी कुछ दिनों से अपने देश के प्रधानमंत्री बाहर के देशों में जाते हैं और अपने विचार हिंदी में रखते हैं, तो जिस प्रकार का रिस्पांस हम टीवी पर देखते हैं, तो मुझे लगा कि यहाँ पर भी हिंदी बोलने में कोई समस्या नहीं है। इसलिए बहुत संक्षेप में मैं कुछ बातें कहना चाहूँगा। इस सेशन के जो थीम के रूप में लिखा गया है कि संघ शक्ति कली युगे, ऐसा लिखा है। इसका अर्थ एक ये होता है कि समय समय पर भगवान ने और अवतार लिए हैं, परंतु कलियुग में ईश्वर का जो भी कुछ रूप रहेगा वो एक संगठित शक्ति के रूप में ही होगा। कोई शरीर लेकर आएंगे ऐसा नहीं लगता है, क्योंकि ये अपने यहाँ पर संघ शक्ति कलियुग बहुत पहले से कहते आ रहे हैं। इसलिए भगवान आने वाले नहीं हैं, यहाँ पर हम सबके रूप में भगवान है। इसलिए कोई बाहर से आने वाले नहीं, ऊपर से कोई आने वाले नहीं है। तो अगर यदा यदा धर्मस्य ग्लानिर्भवति भारत कहा होगा, तो जैसे ये संगठित शक्ति का काम शुरू हुआ, इसका मतलब ही है ईश्वर का जन्म इस भूमि पर हो चुका है। इस कलियुग में हम सबके रूप में है। इस सारे इसमें हमारे 4 सेशन तो चलने वाले हैं। बहुत एक जिसका सभी स्तर पर कुछ न कुछ विचार होना चाहिए, इस प्रकार का सारा ये विषय है। आज दुनिया भर में इंक्लूडिंग भारत, हिंदू समाज की जो एक विविधता है, डाइवर्सिटी है, यस यस I will try it. I am not so much comfortable with the English, so, but even though, तो एक इतने विविधता होने के कारण बहुत डिफरेंट लेवल पर डिफरेंट टाइप्स के लोग काम करते हैं। तो हिंदू समाज का भी अपना एक नेचर है। उसको एक ही प्रकार का काम करने का अभ्यास नहीं है। सो दे विल वर्क ऑन देयर ओन लाइक डिसलाइक समथिंग एंड द नीड ऑफ द सोसाइटी, इसको देखकर करते हैं। और इसलिए अगर हम जब देखते हैं तो बहुत बड़ा एक लार्ज सेक्शन वह डिफरेंट प्रकार के ऑर्गेनाइजेशन को प्रारंभ करके काम करते हैं, और वो कहते हैं कि वी वांट टू ऑर्गेनाइज द हिंदू सोसाइटी, दैट्स व्हाई वी आर फॉर्म द ऑर्गेनाइजेशन। इस प्रकार का विचार करके कुछ ऑब्जेक्ट्स सामने रखकर काम करते हैं। दूसरा एक स्ट्रेंथ ऑफ द हिंदू सोसाइटी जो है, अगर कहा जाए तो मैं कह सकता हूँ कि देश में और विदेशों में भी, अलग अलग देशों में एक मंदिर एक बहुत बड़ी शक्ति के केंद्र है। हिंदू समाज का एक बाय नेचर वो थोड़ा धार्मिक प्रवृत्ति का है, रिलीजियन, पूजा पाठ, कर्मकांड, इसमें रुचि रखता है। और इसलिए हम देखते हैं कि स्थान स्थान पर कई प्रकार के कष्ट उठाते हुए, टेकिंग हार्ड एफर्ट्स, वो यात्रा करता है। भारत में तो हम जानते हैं, फॉर एग्जांपल अमरनाथ यात्रा वो अलग अलग प्रकार के चैलेंजेस है अमरनाथ यात्रा में। नॉट ओनली फिजिकल एफर्ट बट डिफरेंट challenges from the terrorist groups also, even though every year the number of go on increasing for Amarnath Yatris. This is the feeling of a common man of Hindu, common man as a Hindu. तो यह एक बहुत बड़ी शक्ति है। But not only temples, but different स्वामी, sannyasis, यह भी, this is also a big strength of the Hindu society. आश्रम है, आश्रम के मठ के अधिपति है, उनका एक बहुत बड़ा एक शिष्य वर्ग है, अनुयायी वर्ग है, उनको मानने वाला वर्ग है। तो एक इस प्रकार के धार्मिक श्रद्धा के, आस्था के केंद्र भी एक बहुत बड़ी शक्ति है। और तीसरा है भिन्न भिन्न प्रकार के एसोसिएशन, जिसको कहा जाए, और आज के इसमें अगर कहना है तो नव संप्रदाय। ऐसे एक नव संप्रदायों का भी एक भारत के अंदर और भारत के बाहर एक बहुत बड़ा नेटवर्क दिखाई देता है। और ये तीनों प्रकार की व्यवस्थाएं अपने समाज की, इट्स ए स्ट्रेंथ ऑफ आवर सोसाइटी। बट एज वेल एज उसमें थोड़ा डिवीजन भी है, ईगोज भी है, उसके भी कुछ प्रॉब्लम्स है, फिर भी एक स्ट्रेंथ है, इसको मान के चलना चाहिए। इसलिए मुझे लगता है कि अभी आज कल 2-4 सेशन मिलेंगे। इस 4 सेशन में ये सेंट्रल आइडिया है और इसको लेकर अपने सारी चर्चा चलने वाली है। इसको अगर 4 में डिवीज़न किया है तो एक है कि इस प्रकार का एक कॉमन प्लेटफॉर्म कुछ हो, सब मिलकर कुछ विचार करें, इस प्रकार की एक आवश्यकता है। तब जाकर ये संस्थाएं, मंदिर, आश्रम, मठ, सन्यासी, विभिन्न प्रकार के नव संप्रदाय कि दोज आर कॉमनली रिलेटेड विद द हिंदू सोसाइटी, इनका एक बहुत बड़ा अच्छा कोऑपरेशन एंड वर्किंग विथ ईच अदर्स हेल्प, ये एक बहुत आवश्यक बात है। इसके बारे में हम एक सेशन में, आज के अभी के सेशन में हम उसके ऊपर चर्चा करने वाले हैं। आई विल गो इन डिटेल्स आफ्टरवर्ड्स। उसी प्रकार ये सारे जो सेंटर्स है, ये अवेकनिंग है किसी भी सोसाइटी में, ऑलवेज इट्स ए नीड ऑफ अवेकनिंग। और इसलिए एक मैं समझता हूँ कि ये सारे सेंटर्स, संस्था हो, मंदिर हो, आश्रम हो, ये समाज के जागरण, टू ब्रिंग द अवेयरनेस इन द सोसाइटी एंड कीप हिंदू एज ए हिंदू। सो बिग रोल ऑफ दिस ऑल दिस डिफरेंट इंस्टीट्यूशंस। इसलिए इसका कैसे, इसको हाउ कैन वी स्ट्रेंथन ऑल दिस सिस्टम्स, ऑल दिस अरेंजमेंट्स, व्यवस्था, इसके बारे में भी हमको सोचने की आवश्यकता है। एक सेशन में उसके बारे में चर्चा हम लोग करेंगे। some problem related with or some issues related with the Hindu society. In all, what is the role of the Hindu society in humanism? When we say Vishwa Kalyanam, so how the Hindu society will play the role regarding the Vishwa Kalyanam? We used to say Sarve Bhavantu Sukhina, Sarve Santu Niramaya. How we are going to bring in practice? So we have to think again and again about our role in transforming the through all world, all human race, because we have to think about this, and not only human race, above that. Then defense of the Hindu society. So many problems related regarding the Hindu society. So many problems are there. Encroachment of on our culture, our family system, different challenges from the different terrorist groups for the Hindu society. So we have to think about how we can give the defense and our values and our society in all. इसके बारे में भी एक सोचने की आवश्यकता रहेगी. And third point I would like to say, how to promote, how to influence other societies, because our ideology, our philosophy is not only limited to any society or any country or any groups of the society. No, it's covering all over the world. So how we can promote this philosophy and this ideology, we have to think about it. ये दूसरा थर्ड सेशन का अपने पास टॉपिक रहने वाला है. और एक फोर्थ सेशन में मुझे लगता है कि यहाँ पर जो योजना की है, प्लानिंग किया है, उसमें बहुत बड़ा आज चैलेंज है और थ्रेट्स है, वो ह्यूमन राइट्स को लेकर है. It's a need to think over it. How we can protect the human rights throughout the world. People used to say some are backward, some are forward. In different countries, black and white. Some because of some caste system, so many things are there. So nobody have the rights to encroach the rights of others. This is what Hindu philosophy says. अगर ये है तो इस मानवाधिकार ह्यूमन राइट्स को हम कैसे, किस प्रकार से प्रोटेक्ट करने में व्हाट रोल वी कैन प्ले, इसके बारे में भी एक सोचने की आवश्यकता है, जो एक पूरे विश्व के रेफरेंस में है. इसको भी हम लोग एक सेशन में इसके बारे में भी चर्चा यहाँ पर होगी. और इसलिए मुझे लगता है कि यह 4 सेशन अपने चलेंगे. इस प्रकार के डिफरेंट उसके टॉपिक्स हैं. मैंने इसलिए बताया कि जब एक टॉपिक चलता है तो आने वाले अपने मन में जो विषय हैं उसको हम बाकी विषयों में भी आने वाला है, इसको लेकर इस 4 को, इन 4 सेशन को जैसा एक डिवाइड किया है उसको लेकर ही हम सब विचार हम सुनने वाले हैं. अभी का जो इस समय का जो अपना विषय है उसके बारे में मैं कुछ रखना चाहूँगा. तो अभी का जो विषय है अपना, द क्रिएटिंग ए कोलैबोरेटिव प्लेटफॉर्म फॉर हिंदू ऑर्गेनाइजेशन एंड टेम्पल्स एंड एसोसिएशन, ये अभी का इस सेशन का अपना टॉपिक है. इसको अभी एक विचार करने के लिए मैं कुछ स्लाइड्स के रूप में आपके सामने रखना चाहूँगा. इन डिफरेंट कंट्रीज, विभिन्न देशों में हिंदू समाज से संबंधित, रिलेटेड टू द हिंदू सोसाइटी, आई थिंक वी आर वर्किंग इन स्पेसिफाइड इन 3 फील्ड्स. 3 क्षेत्रों में अपना काम चलता है. दैट इज 1 इज सोशल ऑर्गेनाइजेशन. सेकंड 1 इज टेम्पल्स, मंदिर. थर्ड 1 इज संस्थाएं, एसोसिएशंस. इस 3 प्रकार के फील्ड में आज हम लोग अलग अलग देशों में अलग अलग सिस्टम से अलग अलग प्रकार से हम लोग काम कर रहे हैं। इस तीनों के संदर्भ में कुछ हमको सोचने की आवश्यकता है। जब हमने कहा कि कोलैबोरेशन की आवश्यकता रहेगी, तो इसके संदर्भ में जब सोचते हैं तो ऐसे डिफरेंट एक्टिविटीज, इट्स रिक्वायर्ड अ समन्वय टू नो ईच अदर, टू प्लान विथ ईच अदर। देयर इज नो कॉम्पिटिशन, नो ओनली द कोऑपरेशन नीडेड। इसलिए समन्वय, परस्पर सहयोग, इस पर एक विचार करने की आवश्यकता रहेगी। और परस्पर पूरक, वी शुड बी कॉम्प्लीमेंट्री टू ईच अदर। अगर ये होता है सो हम एक अनुभव करेंगे कि हिंदू समाज की एक बहुत बड़ी शक्ति है, स्ट्रेंथ है। बट इफ इट इज नॉट देयर, समन्वय, कोऑपरेशन, पूरकता, सहयोग, अगर ये नहीं रहेगा, सो इट शोज द वीकनेस ऑफ आवर सोसाइटी। So definitely it's a required of the cooperation, samanvaya and complementary to each other. इसलिए यह we should also experience it, हम भी अनुभव करेंगे और दुनिया के देश भी अनुभव करेंगे। मैं समझता हूँ कि अन्य लोगों के कंपैरिजन में इसमें हमारा थोड़ा एक दुर्बलता है, वीकनेस है। इस वीकनेस को दूर करने की आवश्यकता आज हम सब लोगों को लगती है। भिन्न भिन्न प्रकार के इस कार्य का स्वरूप कैसा है, जब हम हाउ द पिक्चर ऑफ द ऑल दिस वर्क, तो विविध प्रकार के उद्देश्यों की पूर्ति के लिए डिफरेंट ऑब्जेक्ट्स, टू फुलफिल द डिफरेंट ऑब्जेक्ट्स, ऐसे करने में सोशल ऑर्गेनाइजेशन खड़े हैं। सामाजिक संगठनों का निर्माण देश भर में हुआ है। जैसे फॉर एग्जाम्पल द कला, आर्ट, साहित्य, लिटरेचर, एनवायरमेंट, पर्यावरण, सर्विस एक्टिविटीज, इंटेलेक्चुअल अथवा दिस बौद्धिक गतिविधि, बौद्धिक प्रयोग। एंड इन लास्ट सम फ्यू years 3 more areas the peoples are working all over the world. This is yoga, Ayurveda and Sanskrit. These three, the different in different areas, and attracting the other peoples also. This yoga, Sanskrit and Ayurveda is playing very important role to change, to bring the transformation in the society, in the human race. So that we have to think about it. Secondly, in same geographical area, different sampradayas working. Different sampradaya athva or different groups. People will come together and they start some activities like this. परंतु ऐसे ग्रुप्स क्या करते हैं? What is the activity of that group? So especially this religious activities. The religious has a different meaning, but whatever the today's so-called meaning of religious. So that is the rituals, puja, mandir, abhisheka, arati, bhajana, like this. So many this related with the temples. और उसी के साथ so many sannyasis traveling all over the world. तो उनका भी एक बहुत बड़ा रोल होता है. इसलिए यह एक हमारे लिए सोचने का विषय है कि इनके बीच समन्वय, परस्पर सहयोग कैसे हो सकता है. एक बहुत बड़ी शक्ति इसके द्वारा हम खड़ी कर सकते हैं. इसके बारे में भी हमको कुछ सोचने की आवश्यकता रहेगी. और इसी के साथ डिफरेंट व्यूज, ऐसे विविध विचारों को लेकर ऐसे कई प्रकार के डिफरेंस, उन्होंने अलग अलग प्रकार के टूल्स लिए हैं सामाजिक जीवन में. ऐसे भिन्न भिन्न प्रकार के एसोसिएशन का निर्माण किया है, अथवा जिसको एक नियो संप्रदाय कहा जा सकता है. ऐसे आज के युग में एक नए नए संप्रदाय, पहले हम कभी सोचते थे शैव, वैष्णव, मध्व संप्रदाय, ऐसे अलग लिंगायत ऐसे थे. परंतु आज टुडे एक अलग प्रकार के संप्रदायों का निर्माण हुआ है और उनका भी एक समाज जीवन पर बहुत बड़ा इम्पैक्ट है. For example, Ramakrishna Mission, since last 100 years, not only Bharat, out of Bharat, they have different type of activities of Ramakrishna Mission. Gayatri Parivar, Arya Samaj, Art of Living, which guided by our Pujya Shri Shri Ravi Shankar ji. Different Jain peoples, they are also running so many different institutions, not only education but social activities. They are also working in the field. So this is Jain Samsthan, and recently started our Sri Ramdev Baba's this Patanjali Yoga Vidyapit. This type of and many others also. ये भी एक बहुत बड़ी शक्ति है. ये भी देश के विश्व के अन्य अन्य देशों में काम करते हैं. आई थिंक आज का जो अपना टॉपिक है इसमें बहुत ही एक आवश्यकता है. दुनिया के सामने अगर कुछ हमको रखना है तो समन्वय, परस्पर सहयोग और परस्पर पूरकता, कॉम्प्लीमेंट्री, सपोर्टिंग ईच अदर and some coordination between all these different types of institutions, temples and social organizations. It's a need of today. So I think I have introduced some, I have given some 5 minutes for me. I have encouraged some 5 to 7 minutes of others. So I would like to start the next one.
Bhayaji, thank you so much. So before we begin the session, I would like to invite the speakers for this session, Mamata Bhika, onto the stage, and Sri Mahaprabhu Dasaji, also known as Martin Kurch. Okay, there he is. And Mujli Bhai Pinola. And I think he has some flashcards, so he will flash when there are 2 minutes left for the person's time, and he'll flash when there are 0 minutes left. So when the 0 minute comes, or before that,
Yes.
with that, Bhayaji, please.
So, okay, we have the 4 speakers and then general discussion. So I will invite Dr. Abhay Ashtana ji, who is monitoring our session. He will speak regarding the Hindu Mandir Executive Conference.
It's a great pleasure and an honor to be with you and share with you the thoughts on this very exciting movement that we have been engaged in to network the temples in North America. And I'm using the word movement because it's a very long process. It's going to go on for many years before the things that Bhayaji was talking about will actually materialize. So the movement started in 1998 under the guidance and the blessings of the Dharma Gurus at the Dharma Sansad in Arshvidya Gurukulam. And in that Dharma Sansad, one of the things that the Dharma Gurus said was, we need to bring the mandirs together if we want to bring the Hindu community, the Hindu Samaj together. And that mandir provides the nucleus to make that happen. And they asked Vishnu Hindu Parishad of America to take the lead in this. Swami Dayanand Saraswati has been our guide and mentor all along in this process. And along with him, many other dharmacharyas, dharma gurus, Swami Tejomayanand ji, Pranab Pandya ji, Shri Shri Ravi Shankar ji, many others. From time to time, they've been guiding us in this journey over the last 10 years.
Thank you.
Another point to note is that the second generation of Hindus in America, they are here again. I'm saying it with caution because things are improving. Things are definitely improving. But still, a long way to go. Largely, the second generation is uninvolved in the issues of dharma. The other point to note is there is a very large percentage of non-Hindu Americans who are influenced by Hindu ideas like vegetarianism, Vedanta, yoga, meditation, spirituality. It's a huge movement. This number is close to 30 million in America. So they are, for all practical purposes, Hindu. Someday, we hope they will admit it, but for all practical purposes, they are there. It's a very large population. One other thing I wanted to share with you is a chart here. So this chart is plotting time versus the population. So when you look at it, it's got three curves, okay? One is in red, one is in green, one is in blue. So the blue is the sum of the two curves, graphs in red and green. So the green is the graph of the first generation Hindu population. The people who migrated in the 60s, 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, okay? So that population keeps growing, and it'll keep growing. The other population in red, that is the population of the second generation Hindus. And that population, if you notice, it begins to asymptotically settle down. Not only that, it begins to decline a little bit. These are projected numbers. So the question is, why is the population of the second generation Hindus declining? And there are a couple of reasons that we all collectively need to think about. One of them is that many of our second generation Hindus, children, they are getting married outside the Hindu fold. And for some reason, when they get married outside of the Hindu fold, and this again is something that we need to worry about, we need to work on, when they get married to outside the Hindu fold, instead of embracing and bringing that other person into the fold, they sort of like drop off. So that population is decreasing. When our children get married, so one child is the norm, maybe two at the most. And anybody even with a little bit of population dynamics knowledge, right, knows, I mean, that's not sustainable. So the other thing that is happening, which is worth noting, is that the population of the elderly in America is increasing. It's kind of like opposite of what is happening in Bharat, right? So the almost 500,000 out of the 3 million, 3.2 million are people who are 65 and older. And that number is growing. It's growing, like in the next 5 years, it'll grow by another 150,000. So we need to take that into account when we are talking about the programs and the activities that we need to design. So why HMEC? There are three words, okay? One is, of course, Shraddha. And HMEC stands for Hindu Mandir Executive Conference. And when I use the word Hindu in here, I use the word Hindu in a civilizational sense. So the Hindu word represents our Sanskriti, our Sabhyata, right? So all the thoughts that have their roots in this soil of Bharat, sacred soil of Bharat, they all belong to us. They are all in this umbrella of the word Hindu. So that includes Bauddhas, that includes Jains, that includes Saivas, Vaishnavas, Sikhs, Smarata, Shaktas, all the things that Bhaiyaji mentioned, right? It includes all of them. So it's not a narrow term that we are talking about. Okay, it's not a religious entity. We are talking about Hindu as a civilization. So it's the Shraddha that we are talking about. Shraddha in our coming generations. How do you cultivate that? How do you instill that? It's the legacy that we want to leave behind for our children, because if we want to sustain this beautiful civilization of ours, this culture of ours, what are the things that we need to do? What is it that our generation is going to leave behind as a base, as a foundation for our children to build upon? And that leads to networking. So you want to network our community together. Our Hindu civilization is built out of communities. We want to network these mandirs together. We are not talking about uniting them, because uniting them is a self-defeating purpose. There's so much of diversity. You're not talking about uniting, you're talking about bringing them together as a network, just like we have the internet. See, internet connects all the devices, mobile phone to laptops, to big IBM machines, to huge data centers, right? It all brings them together. Every entity has its own domain of control, and yet they can connect with each other. And once they connect with each other, many good things happen. They can share, they can communicate, they can collaborate. All kinds of good things happen because of that. So the analogy is close to internet. Okay, you want to network the mandirs together. And we have to do that if we want to nourish this banyan tree of Hindu Dharma. You have to engage the second generation. And mandirs are and the Hindu organizations are the way to do that. So some statistics. So when you look at the landscape in America, you have over 900 temples in just USA. There are over 200 temples in Canada. And there is a huge variety, there is a huge diversity, right? There are big temples, there are small temples, there are private temples, there are public temples, there are North Indian temples, there are South Indian temples, there are Sri Lankan temples, there are Gujarati temples. I mean, you name it. There is a huge diversity. And the purpose and the idea behind HMEC is that they are all ours. It doesn't matter if it's a small temple or a big temple or a Gujarati temple or a Sri Lankan temple, they are all ours. And we are going to embrace and bring them into this network altogether. That's the idea behind HMEC. So what do we do at HMEC? Very simple, 3 things. We want to bring the temple executives, the people associated with the temples, to this conference, just like we are doing over here in Hota, for one, sharing ideas. We can learn from each other. There's so much to learn from each other. So we want to share ideas, share thoughts, share experiences, share stories. We want to learn from each other, because each one of us brings something. I mean, each one of us has experimented with something. They have garnered a lot of experience with their prayogas, right? We want to learn from each other and grow collectively. And we want to do that to sustain our dharma, to pass it on to our second generation. That is the focus. So these are the 3 things that we do. So when you look at it, so I mean, these are just some pictures from there, and I'll go into a little more detail on this. When you look at the mandir, see, the mandirs traditionally were what we call the Jan Jagrana Kendras, right? Everything emanated from our temples. Everything emanated from our temples. So that is where we want our temples to get back to. So worship practices is one aspect of the mandirs. Education, imparting education to our children, to our priests, to our young parents, to our couples, to our families, is an important part of the temple program and activities. Culture, arts and culture, dance, music, whatever form, it all emanated from our mandirs. We need to get that back. And outreach, seva. Seva is a very important aspect that the mandirs used to perform, and they need to perform that again, and we need to bring that back. And of course, the important thing here is how do you administer and operate the mandirs. And when you look at the columns in here, so there are four pillars of the mandirs, of the temples. The executives, the management, the priests, the pandits, the purohits, acharyas, the parents, and the children, of course. And all of these 4 entities have to work collaboratively, collectively. to make this mandir a vibrant mandir. So our journey started in 2006 with Atlanta, and since then we've traveled all over the United States. We've had this conference for like in nine different places. The last one was in Florida in September of this year, and the next year it's going to be in Trinidad. The one previous to that was in Toronto, Canada. So we're trying to cover some of the neighboring countries too. So what is the value that it's bringing to the temples? Networking, of course, temple operations management services, training projects, Hindu social awareness programs, community service programs. Here are some of the things that came out of HMEC over the last 9 years. So several publications. These may look simple for folks in India, but Antyeshti Sanskar, it's a very important thing, because over there, priests are not available everywhere. And when somebody dies in a remote area, people don't even know how to perform the Antyeshti Sanskar they want to. So we wrote a book, very simple book, in simple English, to make that possible for them to perform it themselves. A prayer book for the hospitals, the caregivers, a Vivaha Sanskar, simple publication. Mandir Vani started a newsletter for the temples and a yearly publication. A youth network came out of HMEC. A Bal Vihar network, tying all the Bal Vihars across all the temples together into one network, came out of the Hindu Mandir Executive Conference. Sanatan Dharma Scholarship, another idea, came out of Hindu Mandir Executive Conference. So now this is a yearly thing. I think this is the 4th year when we offer scholarship to our children. National Seva Divas. All the temples in the very first conference, they agreed that they're going to perform collectively a seva of any nature, any form, on October the 2nd. And they are doing that. So one they picked was blood donation and bone marrow drive. So it's been going on for the last 7 years. Priest conference, another important thing that came out of HMEC. So we thought that we have to have a separate conference just for our priests and to look after their welfare, their educational program, their continuing education programs. This has been going on for the last 3 years. The next one is in Minnesota next year. Havan, Hindu American Vanaprasthi Network. I told you, like 500,000 Vanaprasthis today in America. Very resourceful, very knowledgeable, very wise. Can we bring them together into a powerful network? They can make wonders happen. Hindu Women's Network. We have all kinds of women's network, but none that gives a voice to our mother, to our sister on Hindu issues. How do they want to see our children grow? What are their ideas about what our young couples should be doing, should not be doing, and how they should be brought up, and the things that they need to learn? This is the forum for them. We've had several conferences, and next year we're going to have another national conference on this. Hindu Chaplaincy Program, another important program that came out of HMEC. So our pandits, our priests, they are very well versed in how to perform the pujas, right, and the karmakand. They are, unfortunately today, the situation is that they are not very conversant with the language. They know tons of stories from our Shastras. They're not able to convey to the second generation. That's a very important point there, right? So this program is designed to fill that gap. It's not designed to replace the priests. It's designed to supplement them, to complement them in areas where they do not have expertise. So working in hospitals, working in nursing homes, working in the military, working with our community, wherever these kinds of services are needed, we've started this program. It's launched by Hindu University of America, and starting next year, will be the first few students going through this program. This is a chart, I'll skip this. Everything happens. We'll make the puzzle fit. I just want to leave you with one thought. 200 years from now, if the history of America is going to be written, what do we want the people, what do we want the historians to write in that history book? 200 years from now. See, the Chinese came as Param Pujya Dalai Lama ji was saying, right? Chinese came, they gave Chinatown, they gave Chinese food. The Italians came, they gave pasta, they gave pizza. The Irish people came, they gave them pub. What will they say about the Hindus that came to the Americas in the 50s and the 60s and the 70s and the 80s? What do we want them to say? That the Hindus came and they brought with them samosa? They brought with them curry? They brought with them bhangra? They brought with them garba? Is that what we want the history books to write 200 years from now? Our vision, our view is no. What we want them to write 200 years from now is, many people came to this land. But these people who came from the land of Bharat, they were special. They brought with them their family values, their family structure. They brought with them a value system. And they brought with them a spiritual lifestyle that transformed this land. And this land is today because of those people who came from the land of India. That is the history that we want to create 200 years from now. Namaste.
Thank you, Abhayji. Now, next speaker is Srimati Mamata Bika. She is currently employed as an executive property manager for a highly successful New Zealand company. She also holds voluntary position of secretary and executive board member for the Hindu Council of New Zealand. She runs voluntary yoga classes as a part of the Keep Fit. We can see initiative programs organized by the local Hindu community. She will share her experience regarding the bringing Hindu community organizations together. Mamataji.
Namaste and thank you. My name is Mamata Bika and I'm the Executive Secretary for VHP New Zealand. First, let me tell you a few things about New Zealand. We are a very small country of about 4.5 million people. There are 150,000 Indians that live in New Zealand, of which there are 80,000 are Hindus. Our total number of 325 temples and organization. Sorry. What is the aim of the Hota Forum? It aims to bring Hindu mandirs, organizations, associations, groups, sampradayas who are working for the Hindu resurgence to come to one common platform. The objective is to empower the Hindu organizations by providing effective networking, mutual encouragement and support system, resources sharing, and other forms of assistance so that they can serve the Hindu community in an enhanced manner. It instills a sense of pride among all associated Hindu groups. Hota Forum was established in May 2010 at the 3rd New Zealand National Conference in New Zealand. When we first started, we had about 17 organizations that joined in. But currently we have over 70 organizations that participate actively. The working framework model for Hota Forum is, the Secretariat is held by VHP New Zealand. The platform is owned by Hindu society at large. Every year, one Hindu organization, temple or association becomes the host of the Hota Forum and leads the forum for a period of 12 months. The host of the forum rotates every year, and the former host of the Hota Forum becomes part of the Hota Steering Committee. We only have three main things for the Hota Forum to do. First is the Hota Forum, which is an annual day held in February. Second is the Raksha Bandhan Festival, which usually falls in the month of August. And also we conduct Hindu wisdom workshops, which has just recently started. Annual Hota Forum is a forum that invites executives, core volunteers, and coordinators of various temples, organizations, and associations to come together for the day. At the forum, the delegation conducts a SWOT analysis of the Hindu community in New Zealand and plans activities for the near future. The Raksha Bandhan Festival celebrates the veneration of womanhood, and universal fellowship in the society. Raksha Bandhan in modern day interpretation has been a festival limited to brothers and sisters only. Through larger community celebration, we as a Hindu community are extending the bond of universal fellowship through celebrating Raksha Bandhan. Hota Forum invites larger dharmic communities such as the Buddhist, Taoist, Confucian, and Shinto from Thailand, Indonesia, China, Japan, and other indigenous communities such as the Maori during the Raksha Bandhan to perform their traditional art and dance. This way, the Hindu collaborative strength increases manyfold. Raksha Bandhan is a festival that is alcohol-free, meat-free, and free from the vulgarity of Bollywood. Let me show you some pictures from the previous Raksha Bandhan celebrations that we've had. This is a dance done by the local Samoan group, Chinese lion dance, traditional Maori kapa haka, Bharatanatyam, and many more. Hindu Wisdom Workshop. Hindu community knows that Hindu Dharma is full of wisdom and knowledge in many disciplines such as meditation, yoga, Ayurveda, food science, astrology, mathematics, and many more that you know of. Hindu Wisdom Workshops are held once every 2 months, picks a topic, finds an expert on the topic, holds a 1-hour lecture, and an interactive session that is run free of charge to the general public. Hindu Wisdom Workshop is Hota's most recent project. And after 12 months trial, our purpose is to run these workshops for everyday Kiwi to learn about Hindu Dharma. Apart from these core activities, the Hota Forum also facilitates and coordinates activities such as the Yogathon, which is led by Yogathon New Zealand, Seva Day, run by HSS New Zealand, Hindu Youth Conference, led by Hindu Youth New Zealand, Christchurch Earthquake Relief, a joint effort by all. Also to promote Dharma Prachar events, led by respective Mandir groups. Support coordination of visiting Sant and Guru, led by respective Mandir organizations. And lastly, building a capacity for wider Hindu society to act as a watch on national media regarding what is published relating to Hindu Dharma. The Hota Ekta Shank. We came up with this idea of the Ekta Shank and the logo of Hota Forum in 2010 when Hota Forum was first established. In fact, the design of the Hota Forum was designed in my living room with a group of volunteers from the Hota working group. Our thinking was that the conch is a symbol universal to every Hindu sampradaya, every temple, and every organization. The hands signify the society, the people. There are male, female, adults, and children's hands irrespective of race, religion, and status. They're holding the Ekta Shank in unity as a society. We got a local Maori carver in New Zealand to carve this Ekta Shank from a single piece of wood. This shank is now handed over to the new host of the Hota Forum as the host rotates every year. We are happy to replicate this working model. How can we do this? We're happy to share resources of templates of invitation letters, foreign representations, purpose, and SWOT analysis from New Zealand with anyone wishing to replicate this model. There are numerous benefits to the Hindu community. It is a platform where Hindu organizations interact with each other and work together. Before Hota Forum was formed, there was no such platform. Therefore, it has strengthened our Hindu society. It has definitely made it easy to share resources, and it encourages communities to work together. Now, before the Hota Forum was formed, we had lots of difficulty in establishing this. Firstly, fear of change. All stakeholders in the communities felt challenged and threatened. There was patch protection in organizations which fear losing their volunteers to the Hota Forum. Individuals and volunteers fear for time commitments. Organizations fear committing to the forum as they have far too many activities. People in our own community have not understood the concept of Hota Forum after 5 years. People do not ask or clarify about the Hota Forum. Instead, they wait for information to reach their doorstep. There's always a need to shoulder tap people. We always have to ring people up before conferences and forum day to make sure they attend the forum. Geography is an issue. Also, these activities are held in the weekends, which clash with kids' sports, family and social events, active youth engagement. And lastly, New Zealanders are constantly moving to Australia, America, United Kingdoms, and Indians back to Bharat. But we have managed to overcome these challenges. How? Hota Forum is not an independent organization, but a secretariat held by VHP New Zealand. Secondly, we've built a good rapport of your organization. For example, before initiating the Hota Forum, VHP New Zealand was an established organization that was advocated for by the Hindu community and was a community-oriented organization. Also, we have very influential and well-respected members of the Hindu community acting as ambassadors of the Hota Forum, such as the President of Hindu Council of New Zealand, Sri Vinod Kumar, Mukhya Shanchalak, who is well-reputed among the Hindu communities, and lastly, a Hindu member of the Parliament. When Hota Forum was first established, Dr. Rajan Prasad, who is a university lecturer and a Hindu member of Parliament, was instrumental in setting up a functional framework for Hota Forum Day. Dr. Prasad understood the purpose and guided the young volunteers team. For 2 years continuously, he facilitated the day-long forum. Our challenges also represent us with opportunities. For example, youth engagement is not high. However, we make it mandatory that on the day of the Hota Forum, group discussions will be conducted by the youth. Also, on the Raksha Bandhan Day, only youth can be MCs. These youth must be from the organization that is hosting the Hota Forum to ensure rotation. When Hota Forum finishes hosting the year and becomes part of the steering committee, we request that 2 adults and 2 youth be nominated as part of the steering committee. Volunteer recruitment is slow, however, that choose to come on board are very dedicated and leaders in the areas they choose to volunteer in. We're always focusing on the project, the task at hand, and in the interest of the Hindu community. This avoids politics. Lastly, we recommend that build a good rapport with as many Hindu organizations as you possibly can as a team, go to their events, learn about their gurus, swamis, teachings, and their language. In conclusion, we believe that there's definitely strength and value in sharing resources, networking, and collaborating as a team. Hota Forum, therefore, is a brilliant opportunity for the Hindu community in New Zealand to come together and work on a common platform. Sangye Shakti Kali Yuge. Thank you.
धन्यवाद ममता जी. Now next speaker, Martin Gurvich, who born in Montevideo, Uruguay. He studied his political science in Syracuse University, USA, and joined the ISKCON movement in 1983 in Paris. At present, he is the General Secretary of the Hindu Forum of Belgium and of Europe, Director of Communication for ISKCON, Belgium and Europe, the board member of the European Network of the Religion and Belief, Brussels, the president of Jos Gurvich Foundation, Montevideo, Uruguay, and the director of the Museum of Sacred Art of Radhadesh, Belgium, and at the Villa Vrindavan, Italy. He will focus he's done experiments in bringing the Hindu organizations, Hindu community in Europe.
So greetings from your Hindu brothers and sisters from Europe. Just a few of us came. Unfortunately, not more could come. And I'm very also happy to say that I have a Hindu name as well called Mahaprabhu Das. So that's the advantage of becoming Hindu, is that you can get another spiritual name and have another culture and spirituality to one's original culture and upbringing. So we're going to speak a little bit about the situation in Europe, and I'm going to skip a lot about the organization. I'm going to speak especially about the advantages, the benefits, the opportunities that working together have, and also the challenges that many Hindu umbrella organizations face, like we face in Europe. I'm sure many face that all over the world. So I'm just going to say a little bit something about Europe. There are over 2 million Hindus of Asian origin in Europe, mainly in the UK, Holland, Germany, France, and Switzerland, but practically every single country in Europe has a Hindu presence, and more coming. There are also several million Europeans following Hindu Vedic spiritual traditions, like was said in the United States. Maybe not as much as America, but still, it's catching on very quickly. The Hindu Forum of Europe represents many different countries, umbrella organizations, and national organizations, and we try to be a network and a facilitator for all these organizations to help create umbrella organizations in every single country in Europe. And now I'm going to concentrate on the benefits and opportunities in creating national, continental, and international Hindu representative bodies. So one of the way I did the slideshow is that I have the topic on the top, so that's what I'm going to talk about, and there's some slides, some images of events and things that happened in Europe in the last couple of years, so I will say something very briefly about the photo, but mainly I'm going to talk about the slide, about the topic on the top. So getting official recognition. In many countries in Europe, Hinduism is not recognized. I come from Belgium. In Belgium, there are several religions that are recognized. All the Christian denominations, the Jewish and the Muslims. None of the Eastern religions are recognized. The Buddhists have applied 4 years ago, and they're still waiting. We have applied 1.5 years ago, and we're still waiting. The Sikhs are not recognized. Jains are not recognized. Baha'is are not recognized. None of the Eastern religions are recognized. And that's a big thing. It's a moral recognition, but also they get a lot of benefits. Official recognitions in Belgium get salaries for the priest, renovation of buildings. They can speak on public television and radio. They can teach the religion in school, faith-based course for the children. And they also get to do chaplaincy. So the official recognitions get a lot. And Hindus are not recognized, and we're working very hard on recognition. We have applied with a very nice dossier to the Ministry of Justice, and we hope it will come to fruition in the next couple of years. We might need a little help from the international community to put pressure on Belgium, because things go very, very slow in Belgium. So getting official recognition is a very important thing that Hindus can do by having representative bodies. And by the way, the photo on the bottom is the launching of the Hindu Forum of Europe in Brussels in 2007. with some British Hindu leaders and MPs from the United Kingdom as well. So another thing that is a benefit for having, representing and defending the interests, needs, and concerns of the Hindu communities to government. The government needs to know from one body what are the concerns, the issues, the problems, the needs of the community. They can't deal with 20 different organizations or individuals. They need to deal with representative bodies. So representative bodies can transmit to the government the concerns of the whole community. Also interacting with established religious communities in countries where Hinduism is a minority, where Hindus are a minority, then to have representative bodies that can represent a world religion to other religions like the majority religions, Christians and Muslims and Jewish, is very important. Here in the photo we have the president of the Hindu Forum of Belgium with at that point, the cardinal leader of the Catholic Church of Belgium. He received us and we had a nice interaction with him. So another advantage of having representative bodies is to represent Hinduism in high-level meetings and conferences. Europe is a very bureaucratic continent. There's the European Union with dozens and thousands of employees, and the European Parliament, the European Council, the European Commission. And every year, the three leaders of the Council, Parliament, and Commission, they organize a high-level meeting with religious leaders. And because we had the Hindu Forum of Europe, we were invited for several years to meet with them and discuss issues and have a lunch with several religious leaders. Here are the three presidents: Barroso, who just left, Van Rompuy, who is the president of the council, still there, and the vice president of the European Parliament, who also changed because there was elections. We offered them all a Ramayan book, and Bharti Taylor was our president in that meeting last year. So also to communicate to the Hindu communities the interests and concerns of the government. Sometimes the government wants to communicate something to the community, and in the UK that has happened. There were several issues that were taken by the Hindu Forum of Britain to the Hindu community to create awareness or to give information to the community of concerns of the government. This picture here was the first Hindu conference at the European Parliament. There were over 100 participants, and we had a panel of about 8 or 9 speakers from different fields from the Hindu community throughout Europe: business, scholars, spiritual leaders, community leaders, political leaders. So another benefit of creating a representative body is to support Hindu communities in other parts of the world. In many parts of the world, Hindu communities are suffering religious discrimination, sometimes persecution, violence, hate speech. So we do care for them, and we try to organize events at the European Parliament on religious freedom and human rights issues of Hindus in some parts of the world. We are organizing a conference next year for South Asia and Southeast Asia, so if anybody's interested to know more about it, I can give information about that. It will be held in May or June at the European Parliament. Here is a photo of Bharti participating at the Hindu Summit in Bali 2 years ago. Also, an important thing is to respond appropriately when Hinduism is being portrayed in a demeaning way. This is a very sensitive issue, and we need to react quickly but wisely, sometimes strongly, sometimes less strongly. We have to be very, very intelligent how the community reacts when Hinduism is being portrayed in the wrong way, sometimes by businesses, sometimes even by academics or school manuals, etc. The photo is at the Vatican. We were received by the Pontifical Council of Interreligious Affairs, and we're trying to establish a relationship in Europe with the Vatican so that they get to meet with the Hindus in Europe regularly. This, to prepare statements on behalf of the Hindu communities on ethical and current issues. There's a lot of ethical issues in the world today because of the change of lifestyles, technology, etc. So the Hindu community needs to also sometimes make statements about certain social issues, moral issues, ethical issues. And sometimes there's a catastrophe, something happens or something very good happens, then the community needs to make statements about the new king or some catastrophe, whatever happens in that particular country or region. So it's very important for the representative bodies to do this. Here the picture representing the launching of the Hindu Forum of Belgium in 2007. We also had a very big crowd of guests from different sections of society. And also to develop skills and share knowledge and experiences, like was said by my previous speaker, that it's very important to learn from each other and get the right exposure to knowledge and experiences. This is also a picture of the launching of the Hindu Forum of Europe in the European Parliament. So there's also challenges. It's not all good. There's also some challenges. And here's a photo of the launching of the Hindu Forum of Belgium, but a speaker from the Hindu Forum of Britain, one of the leaders who established the Hindu Forum of Britain, Ramesh Kalidai. So one of the difficulties is to get the different spiritual traditions to work together. Everybody has a different sampradaya, different teaching, different guru, different founder, and it's very difficult sometimes for them to get together and work on certain issues. Just to give you an example, for example, the Jewish community has as many denominations and spiritual, philosophical, religious differences as the Hindus have, and on that field they are very separate sometimes. But when it comes to social, political issues, they're together. They have tons of advocacy bodies in Europe. I'll tell you more about the money afterwards, but they put a great effort to work as a unity, even though spiritually, religiously, they have great differences. This picture was also from the conference at the European Parliament. So one of the biggest problems we have is funding. You know, Hindu businessmen, Hindu followers like to give to temples, to charity, but very rarely do we find Hindu businessmen who like to give for advocacy work. It's very difficult to get funding for representative bodies. This is a picture at the Hindu summit in Bali. And also Hindu spiritual leaders speaking on behalf of Hindus many times present their own spiritual traditions, and that creates a lot of confusion for non-Hindus. They don't understand, you know, if there's so many denominations, how can Hinduism be that particular speaker who's speaking? And that happens very often. Spiritual leaders speak on behalf of Hinduism, but they actually present their own spiritual tradition, and that creates a lot of confusion, especially for the non-Hindus. Then also there's a lot of difficulty with the word Hindu, in the sense that difficulty for non-Asian Hindus with the word Hindu due to its ethnic and geographical connotation. And there's many different groups who have difficulty to identify with the word Hindu because they think that you're referring to an ethnicity or a geographical place, so then they don't feel they're Hindus. So we're trying to break that barrier and say that Hindu is more than just an ethnic or geographical identity. So sometimes there's also lack of motivation in the Hindu community to participate in the political process. We could do it, but we don't do it. So that's one of the problems. These are some of the challenges that we face in Europe, and I'm sure they're similar in other parts of the world. So thank you very much, and namaste. And if anybody didn't get brochures, please, you can get from me after, during the break.
मार्टिन जी का इस्कॉन में आने के बाद उनका नया नाम है महाप्रभु दास जी, तो महाप्रभु दास जी को नमस्कार भी करते हैं। नेक्स्ट स्पीकर श्रीमान मुलजी भाई पिंडोलिया, हिंदू काउंसिल ऑफ अफ्रीका के फाउंडर प्रेसिडेंट हैं। हिंदू काउंसिल ऑफ अफ्रीका ये विभिन्न प्रकार के अफ्रीकन 33 कंट्रीज में इनकी एक्टिविटी चलती है। He was elected International Honorable President for November 2013 World Conference of Religious and Peace held in Vienna. ये एक body having consultative status with the United Nations. Pindolia ji runs a successful business and chairman of the Keynes Metal Group of companies. He will share his experience with us.
The moderator of the forum, delegates present, invited guests, sisters and brothers, namaste. And greetings from Hindus in Africa. Today when we Hindus congregate together in New Delhi, we are meeting at our ancestral land and capital of Bharat. Indeed, we are gathering here at the sacred Bharat Bhumi. A particular wish to thank the organizers of this conference for giving me an opportunity to convey my views on the benefits to derive from Hindu unity and organization, and challenges and opportunities in organizing Hindu community in Africa. The problems affecting Hindus takes different shape and forms in different countries and regions of the world where Hindus are domiciled. However, these problems need to be identified, isolated, discussed, and intelligently tackled unitedly with one Hindu voice. First, within the affected country, then at the regional and continental forums, and finally at the various global platforms. To effectively achieve such lofty goals, it would do well for us to borrow a leaf from what other religions communities have done in the past or are doing in the present, which is not to mean we are belittling ourselves by learning from others. As the spirit of our dharma shows, no one has a monopoly of truth, and learning from each other is the mark of true seekers after truth. By virtue of my social positions, I have been privileged to interact with other religions at regional, continental, and global forums, and have come to know that they work around planned agenda while we do not have, at the minimal, a plan or agenda in defense of our dharma. It is instructive to note that in the past, our unforgettable leaders like Maharana Pratap, Chhatrapati Shivaji, Rani Durgavati, Jhansi Ki Rani Lakshmibai, and others were able to fight physically so as to protect our dharma. Today it is not possible to fight physically like they did, because the world is in the process of perfecting a new form of fighting. It is not enough to just praise former Hindu fighters for their sacrifice and sense of purpose. We must also emulate them and endeavor to be inspired by their deeds and sacrifice for our dharma. It also requires us to be generous with our time, monies, and resources. Most of the problems in Bharat and other countries are known by many of us, but we just feel helpless and sorry that we are not able to tackle them unitedly. Our intra and making Hindus appear as the weakest religion community in the world. My educated opinion, derived from the history, is that one of the most widespread religious conversion from a single block of people that have either taken place or are presently taking place are from amongst Hindus. The question that begs for answer is this: just for how long are we going to continue in this way of keeping quiet while our cherished dharma is being completely eroded with deliberate, open, and hidden agenda of other religions? In Africa, with very first establishment of Bharatiya Swayamsevak Sangh in Nairobi, Kenya, the above stated problems occupied the minds of Hindu leaders more strongly in 1972, especially when the Ugandan dictator Idi Amin expelled minority Asians from Uganda and confiscated their properties in the process. This was a wake-up call for Hindus in Kenya, who in the same year formed the Hindu Council of Kenya solely to unite Hindus so as to help solve such their problems together as they endeavor to serve the local indigenous population by lifting their standards of living in the provision of education, health, business, training, farming, and other human development services in light of our Dharma. The formation of the Hindu body to champion not only the cause of Hindus in Kenya, but also the cause of the lives and livelihood of locals has forever changed the attitude of Kenyans towards Hindus and has been positively recognized by the successive government. In the year 1998, as Hindu Council of Kenya was planning to celebrate its silver jubilee, 25 years since it was formed, the idea of disseminating the benefits derived by the formation of a local Hindu body to other Hindu communities around was mooted. Henceforth, we began to champion the formation of the National Hindu Organization in each country in Africa. This was how the Hindu Council of Africa was born. It is impressive to note that 33 countries where Hindus are settled with an estimated population of 2.5 million in Africa out of 54 countries of Africa accepted the idea and began in earnest to form national bodies in line with the Kenyan model of unity and service to indigenous people. I was elected the first president of Hindu Council of Africa. I, together with my team of elected officials, personally visited about 23 countries, about 2 to 4 times each, and at our own expense, and convinced them on the benefit to be derived from belonging to such a continental Hindu body. This is how the process of belonging from the local to the global body takes place. Individual family becomes a member of community and or temple. Organization like temples and communities becomes members of the National Hindu Council, may be called Mandal or Sabha, whatever. National Hindu body joins Hindu Council of Africa. Hindu Council of Africa joins African Council of Religious Leaders, a continental multi-religious body. African Council of Religious Leaders joins the World Conference on Religions for Peace, International, a United Nations affiliated body. This is the organizational chart. As can be seen from this process, community matters are discussed and solved at relevant stages from the grassroots level right up to the world level, where they now become global concerns that call for global responses. To be heard at the global stage is a powerful way of winning agendas. There is need for many Hindus to explore this advantage in order to have the Hindu cause taken seriously at the global stage for action to follow without prejudice to other religions. I wish to give example of one major achievement of such unity as the international level with the backing of Hindu Council of Africa. I raised a question in Libya in the year 2008 during a joint forum of African Council of Religious Leaders and World Conference on Religions for Peace, as why Middle Eastern countries were not allowing for the construction of places of worship for non-Muslims. This question was adjudged valid by the Libya conference, and 2 years later, in 2010, a Christian church and a Sikh Gurudwara were constructed in Dubai. As I speak to you now, there is a high-level planning of a construction of a Sanatan Hindu temple in Dubai. For this reason, I have been to Dubai twice and have been privileged to give talks to Hindus as a way of awakening them to action. There is also a need to incorporate various Hindu organizations working around the globe for a joint collaborative effect to advance Hindu Dharma, since no single institution can advance the Hindu cause on its own. This will also help promote a Hindu connection to local and international trade and commerce and humanitarian development and assistance programs. This way, the Hindu voice will gain recognition and respect the family of nations and amongst people of the world. Today, as we are aware of achievements by single voice, very few Hindus are aware of or care about the benefits to be derived from the single united Hindu voice. It is quite unfortunate that many Hindus have the tendency of blaming their leaders in time of difficulties, but would rather choose the safety of their comfort zones and render zero supports to their leaders when they agitate against such social injustice as harm to our temples, calculated injustice to Hindus population, forced conversion of Hindus in Bharat, and especially in countries where they are in minority. Thank you.
धन्यवाद मुलजी भाई. अभी now we have some 5 to 10 minutes with us. आप में से भी कोई अपने अनुभव बताना चाहता है? हम लोगों ने भी कुछ प्रयोग किए होंगे, but in brief, तो in 5 to 7 minutes some more people can speak यार. आइए.
हिंदू तन मन, हिंदू जीवन, रग रग हिंदू मेरा परिचय. जयपुर की 1942 से राष्ट्रीय स्वयं संघ का एक स्वयंसेवक हरिशंकर आप सबकी सेवा में जयपुर, जामनगर से यात्रा करते करते जापान तक पहुंचा हूं. आज भी मैं बाल स्वयंसेवक हूं राष्ट्रीय स्वयंसेवक संघ का, जिसके इस सर के ऊपर परम पूज्य गुरु जी के हाथ 3 बार आए हैं. और मुझे बहुत आनंद आ रहा है कि हम सब मिलकर के दुनिया भर के अंदर अपने हिंदुत्व का विचार बढ़ाने के लिए आज भी सामर्थ्यशील हैं. और दिस वे once upon a time I wrote a shloka. What is Hindu? That Hindu in shloka and Sanskrit I recite here. Hinasti, hinasti hi, hinasti. Antashthitan sviyan dushanan. Antashthitan sviyan dushanan. Dushana. That do dushana. Hin hinasti. Do dushana. Hinasti antashthitan sviyan dushanan. Iti Hindu. This paribhasha, once upon a time to Prema Pandurangji, before 15 years, I submitted in Kolkata. And Prema Pandurangji applauded this in the thousands of gathering during her discourse on Mahabharata.
Please in brief. Please in brief.
Okay, this much only.
Yes.
अस्तना जी मुझे जानते हैं, माननीय अस्तना जी मुझे अच्छी तरह से जानते हैं. और परम पूज्य हमारे सामने भैया जी का मैं एक बार भाषण सुन चुका हूँ. मुझे कुछ ज़्यादा नहीं कहना, मुझे इतना ही कहना है, हम सब मिलकर के जैसे अनेक मंदिरों के बारे में न्यूजीलैंड की बहन को भी मैंने केशव सृष्टि में सुना है और गुणा जी को भी अनेक बार मिल चुका हूँ. इसलिए आप सबको मिलकर के मुझे बहुत खुशी होती है. बस इतना ही मुझे कहना है. धन्यवाद.
ठीक. एक मिनट बोल रहे. I would request we can speak on the topic. This we have heard so many experiments. We can add something.
To declare there is no Vedic sanction, the way caste is practiced, the way it is a social institution that has to be dealt as such. But our second generation is having big problem dealing with it. And that's why I circulated an article. Those of you who don't have it, please get a copy of it. Caste by birth, a need for change, for purification of Sanatana Dharma. Sanatana Dharma is pure, but unfortunately it is attributed to Sanatana Dharma. So it is for us to state that we have caste has no basis according to Vedic sanction. I also wrote a book for our second generation called Hinduism, a Primer, for us to get introduction of Hinduism. The second problem we are having in second generation is more and more marriages are breaking down. And it is a significant number in our second generation.
Sorry. Sorry, sir.
This session is dedicated to organizing.
So it is related to organizations.
In this hall, till tomorrow evening, there will be 4 more sessions, and these topics are being taken up
Certainly.
in different sessions.
Certainly.
Please see the timetable.
Certainly. I will.
Otherwise, you are all mixing up.
I will honor that, sir. I will honor that.
No.
And I will.
Socio-cultural challenges are being taken up tomorrow afternoon session.
Okay, I didn't know that. Thank you very much. Thank you
This
for your
session
time.
is dedicated for Hindu organizations, temples, associations. How they can come together, how they can work.
This is limited.
Agreed, sir. Thank you.
You keep there. आइए आगे आइए. You can come here. एक मिनट. Just wait. He's coming. Yes. Only now 2 can speak. Only 2. Yes. Take the mic from here.
My name is Vaidya Akhilesh Sharma. I am an Ayurvedic physician though. But what I am trying to say is, Ayurveda, the Indian system of medicine, is very strongly so-called Hindu system of medicine, and which has got practical relevance and rationality and application universally worldwide now. So we should take the advantage of this situation, and worldwide all the temples and all the organizations, what we want to do, we want to start charity free healthcare clinics for our community. That will bring propagation, unity of the temples, and more firm beliefs in the Hindu way of living. So that's very practical and rational approach. We want to focus on that, sir.
Yes, sorry. Yes, come on. Yes, come on.
Namaste, but I am Professor Keshav Patel from Los Angeles. The thing is that we want all Hindus to be united, and this is a great opportunity here that all the Hindus from the different countries have came together. I give you one of my example. Just to unite, I have given that idea how to unite our Hindus in system step by step. I suggested in our HMEC conference that we should arrange the regional HMEC. Means we should unite Hindus in small groups, small areas. So what I did, that in my area, Los Angeles, the South California, I took the area of South California, Los Angeles, San Diego, Riverside, and Orange counties. I met different temple trustees. Let me say my first experience. When I say I met the first person, when I started this achievement, then when I met the first person, the Dhirubhai, his name, that I want to organize our Hindu trustees in this way and our unity, Hindu unity. Then he says, are you in the sky? Are you dreaming? I go, no, I am on the earth and I am a practical person. He said that we are doing all this work since last 20 years and we are not successful. How can you be? I told that I may not be successful, but let me try. Let us try. If I may not be successful, let the next generation will be successful. But we have to try.
Please,
and that is the main things what we do. And as a result, I could organize my regional HMEC conferences twice. Means 2 years continuously. And that is the achievement, what we can do.
Thank you.
Yesterday, one person asked me.
No, please. Time is over.
This is the real thing. Yes. Yesterday, one person asked me, he is living in, his fathers, everybody are living in the Muslim areas nearby. And how the Muslim people have systematically bought all the houses from that area. How they harass the people. Then he asked me, what should we do? I told only one thing. Hindus should become, अपने आप को इतना बुलंद बनाओ कि सामने वाले आपके सामने आंख देख ऊंची करके भी देख ना पाए. इतना बुलंद बनना है या नहीं? मैं आपको पूछता हूँ, बनना है या नहीं? तो बनना है और हमें प्रयत्न करना है, साथ में मिलना है.
All right. Just only 1 minute. 1 minute. 1 minute. Tomorrow you can. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. सभी स्पीकर्स को मैं बहुत हृदय से धन्यवाद देता हूँ कि उन्होंने है उनके पास lot of things they have to say, but within the limitations of time they have concluded everything. So I am very thankful to all the speakers. मुझे लगता है कि दुनिया में हिंदू कई प्रकार के एक्टिविटीज़ में बहुत ही अपना एनर्जी लगाते हैं, बहुत मेहनत करते हैं. अगर एक कहीं कमी है तो वो कमी एक ही है कि सब मिलकर विचार करते नहीं हैं. ये एक कमी है. सभी लोग अपने अपने डायरेक्शन में, अपने अपने फील्ड में बहुत सक्सेसफुली काम कर रहे हैं. मैं समझता हूँ कि ऐसा एक फोरम बनना चाहिए कि जहाँ पर लोग एकत्र आएँ, अपने अनुभव बताएं और एक दूसरे के अनुभव शेयर करने के साथ साथ एक दूसरे के काम में सब प्रकार का सहयोग भी करें. आज दुनिया हिंदुत्व की ओर देख रही है. हम उसी विचारों के रिप्रेजेंटेटिव है. बस आवश्यकता इस बात की है कि हम सबके एक समन्वित प्रयास और सहयोग के द्वारा we can give the very powerful message to the world. Thank you very much.